Good afternoon, George Cavaligos for Naked Trader. It's Friday afternoon, a couple minutes before the pits are closing here, and it's been kind of a quiet afternoon. Again, the fireworks were overnight. Unfortunately, there was a very large earthquake in Japan. Another situation that we have to factor into our whole stew of things that are occurring and that are affecting the markets here. The main thought, obviously, was initially the yen sold off and rallied back quite a bit. Powerful rally there. I sent out a chart this afternoon pointing to a big pennant formation there with some very large upside potential, with a close above the highs in the yen futures at 122.50. Projects a very large rally there. Back to the treasuries now, guys. There's some minor bearish formations occurring right now. Picture's a little cloudy depending on whether you look at the continuation charts. I know Tony and I go back and forth about this all the time, whether you're supposed to look at day trade charts, continuation 24-hour charts, front month charts. I tend to favor the June, which is the front month chart. It shows clearly what has occurred with this specific contract over the last couple months. Now, it's a little sketchier because the volume hasn't been involved in the June contract, but I find it interesting that last night, 4 o'clock, when the earthquake news hit the wires, the June 10-year trade up to 120.05. That's the high from mid and late January on the June contract. That is an important resistance area. A lot of talk about the Japanese having to sell some treasuries, which they are big holders of our debt, especially the longer dated debt, to bring back funds to obviously aid with the reconstruction of all the damage that's occurred there. The curve has steepened today, where people are in buying the short end and selling the bonds and notes here as sort of a combination flight to quality trade with the continued turmoil in the Middle East and in North Africa and in Europe, and kind of a little kicker with now the earthquake problems. Everything seems to be conspiring to cause the yield curve to steepen here a little bit in the States. We've been consolidating. If you look at 2s10s, that spread has been consolidating near the highs over the last couple weeks. Maybe this is similar to what that yen chart looks like, going to propel us higher in what looks like it might be a fifth wave for a lot of these moves. It's kind of interesting that we are sort of going through these triangle consolidation patterns in all these different markets right now, sort of trading all as one. If we're going to propel these trades higher, that's going to be negative for the bonds. I almost put out the idea about buying some put spreads here. I didn't really push it because things weren't lining up perfectly. But if you're so inclined, if you have a long portfolio, you might want to start pecking away at some cheap put spreads in the 10-year and the bonds here, just as a hedge, a little bit of protection. We don't know how big the damage is in Japan. The videos look horrible. The damage looks massive, but we really don't know yet. A lot of the damage has occurred in what look like agricultural areas and not in industrial areas, so it could just be agricultural problems. You might want to be looking at DBA and some of the CRB type indexes that include the grains. We'll get more information over the weekend here. The silver idea worked out great. Hopefully you guys were able to participate in that trade. The yen idea, we're not closing above the highs yet. 122.20 trading right now with the pits closing right now. You might want to be a little preemptive there too. It looks like with a powerful up move, if we can get above that 122.50 area in the yen future on a close, that's going to be a big move there too. And it's kind of a neat way. There's a couple of neat ways you can play that with some option call spreads and things like that, not only in the futures but also in the ETF land that I pointed out in the email. Any other questions? Give us a little shout on the email. Thanks for the kind responses. A couple people sent back some thanks for catching the silver and the yen trade earlier. I'll hopefully come up with some more stuff here over the weekend. Have a great weekend.